Hi, this is Ayush Chatterjee, student of Medical College Kolkata. In this slide, we'll see how the movements of eyeball can be brought about by different extraocular muscles and how we can easily memorize them or visualize these actions. Before we move on to the movements of the eyeball, we should know what are the extraocular muscles. As the name suggests, the extraocular muscles refer to the intrinsic muscles of the eyeball, those which have their origin and insertion outside the eyeball. That is, they are attached mainly to the sclera, which is the outer covering of the eyeball. The extraocular muscles are broadly of two types, voluntary and involuntary. In the following slides, I will be talking about only the voluntary muscles, which are the four recti, including the superior, inferior, lateral, and the medial rectus muscles, two oblique, the superior and inferior oblique, and the levator palpebrae superioris. The levator palpebrae superioris has only one function, which involves the eyelids and not the eyeball as a whole. The superior rectus belongs to the rectus group of muscles. The first figure shows the position of the superior rectus on the eyeball. The lateral view, we can see that it is attached to the sclera behind the sclerocorneal junction or the limbus. But when we see from the top view, it is evident that it has slightly oblique attachment because it lies in the orbit, which is itself a oblique cavity and not a straight one. To imagine the movement brought about by the muscle, we can consider an arrow in the direction of pull exerted by the muscle. Now, taking this arrow as a tangent, the circle drawn around the eyeball shows how the eyeball will rotate on contraction of the muscle. In the first diagram, the arrow with written direction of pull is the tangent, which is parallel to the muscle, and the circle drawn is seen in the second figure. This circle shows how the eyeball will rotate, and the arrow in the second figure shows in which direction the pupil will point after contraction of the muscle. In this case, the eyeball rotates upwards and medially. The first figure shows the attachment of the inferior rectus on the eyeball. It is somewhat opposite to the attachment of the superior rectus, that is below the eyeball. When seen from the front view, we can see that it is slightly oblique. It is also inserted on the sclera behind the limbus. Following the same approach as before, the direction of rotation of the eyeball can be determined. In the first figure, the arrow shows the direction of pull, and with it as a tangent, we have drawn the circle in the second figure. And in the second figure, the arrow shows the direction in which the pupil would move. In this case, the eyeball rotates downwards and medially. Here, the medial rectus and the lateral rectus are shown in the same slide. Their insertion are same as that of the superior and the inferior rectus. In the diagram, both are seen from the top view. The medial rectus is attached to the medial side and the lateral rectus on the lateral side. So again, by similar approach, contraction of medial rectus rotates the eyeball medially, while contraction of the lateral rectus rotates the eyeball laterally. The arrows for both the muscles, which act like tangents, are shown in the first diagram, and the circles we have drawn in the second diagram. So for medial rectus, the eyeball will rotate medially by the pull of the muscle. For lateral rectus, the eyeball will rotate laterally by the pull of the muscle. Now, the oblique group of muscles. First, the superior oblique. As the name suggests, the superior oblique muscle has an oblique attachment. That is, it takes a somewhat curved part before it is attached on the eyeball, unlike the rectus muscle, which comes straight from the origin. The fibers, after passing through a fibrocartilaginous pulley, get directed downwards, backwards, and medially to get inserted on the sclera behind the equator of the eyeball. Here on contraction of the muscle, it pushes instead of pulling the eyeball. So by the known approach, we see that in the first figure the direction of push is shown by the arrow, and with it as a tangent we have drawn the circle in the second figure, and here the eyeball will rotate downwards and laterally. The last muscle, the inferior oblique. This muscle also has an oblique course. It is inserted close to the insertion of the superior oblique but a little below and posterior to it. The first figure shows how it is attached slightly obliquely below the eyeball. Unlike the superior oblique, this muscle exerts a pull, and as is evident from the first figure, the direction of pull shown by the arrow which acts like a tangent, and the circle is drawn in the second figure, and here the eyeball rotates upwards and laterally. In the previous slides I had demonstrated how individual muscles bring about the movements of the eyeball. Now the pure movements of the eye are brought about by various combinations of the recti and the oblique muscles. Some of the pure movements of the eye are the upward rotation or elevation, and the muscles involve the superior rectus and inferior oblique, downward rotation, depression, inferior rectus and superior oblique, lateral rotation, abduction, brought about by the lateral rectus, superior oblique and inferior oblique, medial rotation or adduction, brought about by the medial rectus, superior rectus and inferior rectus, intorsion, brought about by superior oblique and superior rectus, extorsion is brought about by the inferior oblique and the inferior rectus. It can be easily demonstrated how combination of the different muscles causes the forward movements. Here the blue arrows indicate the individual vectors or the direction in which the eyeball rotates due to contraction of individual muscles. So it will rotate upwards and medially for superior rectus, downwards and medially for inferior rectus, downwards and laterally for superior oblique, and upwards and laterally for inferior oblique. It will rotate medially for medial rectus and laterally for the lateral rectus. Now the black arrows show the resultant vector showing the direction in which the eyeball will rotate if the muscles are combined. So the black arrow between the inferior oblique and superior rectus will turn the muscle upwards, that is elevation. The black arrow between the superior oblique and inferior rectus will turn the eyeball downwards by combined effect, that is it will bring about depression. Similarly, the arrow on the medial side will have the action of all the three muscles, superior rectus, medial rectus and inferior rectus, and will bring about adduction. And the muscles on the lateral side, combining the effects of all the three muscles, inferior oblique, lateral rectus and superior oblique, will bring about abduction. For extorsion and intorsion, it should be remembered that here the direction is judged not by the movement of the pupil but by a point which is placed on the upper edge of the pupil, as the axis itself passes through the center. So if the point will move towards the inside, then it will be intorsion, and if it moves towards the exterior or outside, it is extorsion. So for intorsion or extorsion, there are like torsion movements for which the force should be applied away from the center. So the first figures, the top view figures, show the resultant vectors. First, the superior oblique and superior rectus which act upwards, and the inferior oblique and inferior rectus which act downwards. So the superior oblique and superior rectus bring about intorsion, and the inferior oblique and inferior rectus bring about extorsion.